Hello, loved ones. Thank you for joining me today. And if you're new to the channel, then welcome to the family. Today, it is my intent to review Married at First Sight Season 14 Afterparty. I am so impressed of the wonderful job that Keisha Knight Pulliam is doing that I had to come and talk about it. Please subscribe so that you can be part of the congregation. And if you want to be part of the conversation, then shout out in the comment section. If you are excited about a particular part of the program, then see the timestamps in this description box. Did you hear that pearl that OLAJAWON dropped? And make sure you stay into the end so that you can get fuel you can use, which is our spiritual truth to help you through the week. So let's get the party started.
Welcome to Fueled by Intentions, where we talk about faith, family, finances, fitness, and fun. Sponsored by Bynum's Business Solutions, where the right fit is made simple. We specialize in tips, tools, and strategies designed to help you achieve your financial health so that you can take control of how you spend your money so that you can spend more time with your family, friends, and doing the things you love. So let's jump right into the video.
This episode featured Keisha Knight Pulliam, of course, as the host, and she looked absolutely beautiful. She had on some cute black ripped jeans with some wedges, and it was just a really cute, relaxed look. The cast on the show was Noe and OLAJAWON, which for what we saw in the episode, I thought that was great to have them to speak on behalf of what happened in both of their relationships. I love when they have the couple that makes sense for the episode. They also had Sarah Coloma, who is the co-host of the podcast called Are You My Podcast? And she reviews movies and reality television. And she is a huge fan. And she spoke for the people. She has been married for 6 years. The episode was called Come Back and Bite You, which was inspired by OLAJAWON and KATINA and their discrepancy that carried over from last week to this week. So let's get right into the review. The episode started out with Keisha asking the question, how are they dealing with the polarized opinions that the public had? And Noe admitted that she knew that the episode would go out to the general public, but she was really surprised about the feedback on websites and forums. So maybe she's read some Reddit. And Keisha gave her some great advice. She said, don't read the comments, which we hear often when we are talking about reality television because we all, even myself, have opinions. The first clip they featured was KATINA talking to JASMINA and Michael. And in the clip, she says that she does this one thing and he holds it against her, that he does not understand how this makes her feel and that she is a real person too. And she also begins to cry in the clip. I actually found a couple of things disturbing in that clip, but I digress. If you want to hear my opinion on the clip, then check out my review on season 14, episode 12 of Married at First Sight. OLAJAWON indicated that he had a lot of different opinions about this clip. He says that this is the most emotional that he's ever seen KATINA and that he wished he could have experienced it in person. He also said that seeing her this emotional is a good apology. I was really disturbed by that because I don't think that she has a reason to apologize. So even though he's had some time to reflect on it since the after show is filmed after the season ends and they've actually resolved the conflict, the fact that he still thinks she owes him an apology, I think is very disturbing. So I just did not like that statement that he said. He did indicate that his anger came from his own insecurity is what it boiled down to, that he was deflecting on her what it would mean for him if he had the app on his phone. And I love that Sarah brought that point out. I loved a little banter between Sarah and Keisha, and she was like, how would you cover this on your podcast? And, she said that she understood from OLAJAWON's point that it was a deflection. And she related to a relationship that she had when she dated a cheater, and he was always accusing her of cheating because that is kind of like how he would approach things. Noi did comment on when the incident first happened at the dinner meeting, and she indicated that it was uncomfortable for all of them, especially because KATINA had no idea as to what was going on. However, this is the very reason that I believe that KATINA and OLAJAWON is going to make it, because I think that he is able to reflect back and then to see where he has made a mistake and where he needs to make an adjustment. Although I don't think he made a full adjustment in this particular incident, because I don't think she needed to apologize. I don't think it was nothing she should have apologized for. But I do like that he is able to reflect and then see it from her point. However, I think that if he does not learn to control it in the beginning and not it be an afterthought, then they'll have a hard road ahead. But I think KATINA is going to be able to allow him the time that he needs in order to make the correction. For clip number 2, they show KATINA and OLAJAWON making up with their diary cam, telling us how they resolved the situation. And in it, KATINA says it's a new day, they made up. OLAJAWON says that, they discussed it and everything's okay now. And in that, after the clip is featured, OLAJAWON tells us a little bit more about how they made up. He says one thing that really helped him is that KATINA pointed out that if she was trying to hide something on her phone, or if she was trying to hide the app, then she would have hid it. She wouldn't have left it in plain sight. And he said that that really made a lot of sense to him, and that was one of the things that helped them move past that particular incident. He says he does believe KATINA that she wasn't on the app, that, she just kind of forgot it, but he does believe her that she was telling the truth. And I'm really glad he said that, because I think that KATINA is a very truthful person, and I don't know. And he says that he should have handled it differently, which I like that about him, that he admits that. But the thing is that we need to see him stop admitting that he needs to handle things differently, and we need to see him handle things differently, which to me, it begs the point of who is allowing you to act like this at this age. I feel like if it's a behavior that you continue, especially when you are well into adulthood, then someone has allowed you to act that way and you haven't been corrected enough where you feel like you have a need to change. So that was the end of that, but I was really glad to see that they resolved the conflict. And it was so cute because Sarah Coloma, she said what she would have done is she would have tried to log on to the app to see when the last time it was activated. So she would have done a little more investigation. And I agree with Keisha Knight Pulliam. She said that may not have been the best advice. But I like the banner. I like the fun feeling that Keisha brings to the show. And I do like that they are bringing other guests kind of to speak for the people. I'm very interested to know how that happened, if it was organically or did it happen because Chris and Alyssa are not on it to take that extra seat, or I'm wondering if this was the plan all along, because we did see when the after party for this season started, they had the three couples, sometimes with Chris, sometimes Alyssa, sometimes just three of the other combinations of the couples. So I'm wondering, since they didn't have that extra couple, that extra person, if they featured a guest and then thought, this is working very well, and begin to keep it up. If you know if it happened accidentally or organically, then let us know in the comment section. The third clip that they featured was Noi and Steve dividing the house chores between him and Noi being very frustrated. So frustrated that she actually cursed at him. I cannot believe it. I can't even imagine cursing at my husband. So I was taken aback by that. And Keisha made the point that this could have gone left really quickly. But Noe indicates that it was a playful banter and that they played like this all the time, so that he knew she was joking and it was not a big deal for them in their relationship. Noe indicates that she is frustrated because he keeps asking her to do things around the house more and more, and she hasn't asked nothing of him. But of course, Keisha points out you've asked him 72 times in order to get a job. Noe says that she has asked him, but she has not pressured him. But I disagree. I think that bringing it up so many times and all of these things, I think that is pressure. I don't think that Noe really understands the role that she is playing in this feud between the two of them. So I disagree with Noe's explanation of that particular event. I did understand from Noe's perspective that Steve has more time than she does because of his job situation, so he could be doing it while she's at work. So I did understand her point in that situation. And of course, Sarah speaks for the people. Basically, she indicates that she does not believe that Steve is a deadbeat and that he will take care of his responsibilities, and that Noe should not push it unless it becomes a real issue. And oh my God, I'm just like, thank you for saying what we all wanted to say. Don't push it unless it becomes an issue. Sarah points out that she believes that Steve will pull his weight. I agree. Noe's response to that is she's looking at it more as a character flaw, and it's a motivation issue, not a money issue. I kind of think that Noe is jealous because I think she wants to be a stay-at-home mom and be with the kids and all of that, and the fact that he's doing it. But I feel like if that is the case, then just get on board and say, hey, you know what? Why don't we make it where we both can stay home? How much money can you make as this self-employed individual? Is there a role that I can play in it to help us make more money where we both can come home? I think that they can have it all, and I think that she would be more willing if he included her in that picture. In the fourth clip, they show Noe and Steve discussing living arrangements after the show, where Noe indicates that she does not want to move in with Steve. And of course, the panel is flabbergasted. Sarah is like, how can this happen? Because if she had approached her husband in this way, he would think it was a step backwards, which I think is the same thing that Steve believes too. Noe does explain that it's rooted in her fear of a past relationship where she moved in with a guy, it did not work, and then she had to start all over again, which I think is a real possibility and could be a very, very frightening. And she vowed that she wouldn't do that again, and she wouldn't move into it with a guy until she got married. And although they are married, they are still strangers and don't know what's going to happen because of this relationship. She also indicated that they are beginning to have disagreements that they are unable to resolve by themselves without assistance. And that is making her step back a little bit. And I think that that is a real fear and a real concern. I do think that it can be very tricky though, because if you have a place to run to, like, you get mad and you have a place to go that's not your home, like, I think that it's definitely harder to resolve your issues. But I understand Noe's perspective too. So I don't know, I think that maybe they should talk about when her lease is up, if they're gonna move into his house. It looked like he had a house and she had an apartment, but I don't know, maybe he has rented his place too. And maybe she can just pay the rent at her place for maybe 6 months or whatever, where she has a place to go to. I don't know. I don't think the answer is not moving in together, but I do understand that you need a little security blanket just in case when this experiment is over, we do not last. Because we've seen couples who don't last. Last year, Mirla and Gil. I believe Gil moved in with Mirla, then it did not work out. Then he said he sold most of his things. So it's a real concern. So I definitely understand. The only thing I did not like about that is she did indicate on the after party that she did not share that with Steve. So he is not a mind reader. I think you need to be open and honest about it so that you guys can come up with a solution together. Of course, Sarah spoke for the people because she indicated, look, you should just be open and honest with him. We see you got a little feistiness in you. In the first clip, you were cursing at him. So why come you can't just tell him what your fear is about this situation, especially because the entire panel noticed that Steve was trying to get to the root of the situation, saying why you don't want to move in, what's wrong, is there more? So I love that Sarah spoke to the people for the people and said Noi needs to just tell Steve the real deal. The fourth clip that they featured was KATINA talking to her sister-in-law, indicating that she would like to consummate their marriage, but that they haven't yet. And OLAJAWON indicates that not consummating the marriage is very important to him. And I know that everybody is like, this is a big deal, but I do not think so. I still believe that this is a respect issue. He wants to respect her. He wants this to be different. I think he's putting Isaac behind him. So some people don't believe it, but I'm going to take him at face value. He wants to do something different. And not having relations within the first 8 weeks that you meet somebody, I don't think it's a big deal. I have heard online some people think that they're lying and that they have, but they're just not wanting to say it. But I'm going to believe them. I believed Ryan and Claire too. So, hey, I just believe what people say until I find out something different. So I'm going to believe him. I think that he is being sincere and he just wants to respect her in that way. And I'm surprised because I would hope that she would want to be respected in that way. And, in the one hand, if they don't do anything, they don't have to talk about it on camera. And, they can really get to know each other. So I admire him for that reason. But he did say it was really important to him. And it sounds like he does not want to have relations until after decision day. Keisha then asked Sarah, who does she think would make it and say yes on decision day? And she indicated that Noi and Steve, prior to this last episode, she thought that they were shoo-in, but she thinks they still can make it, and also KATINA and OLAJAWON. She didn't comment on the other couples, at least they did not show her commenting on the other couples. Clip number 5 was Noi speaking to her sister, Sriracha, telling her about the relationship and how Steve wants them to split the chores. And I love that Sriracha was like, hey, you know what? He needs to find him a job if he's going to split the chores. And you could tell that Noi was getting very frustrated. On the after party, she indicated that she was just venting. She was very upset at that time. And one thing that she said that I really liked is she said she was just venting, telling her side. And I think that that is an acknowledgement of, hey, you know what? This is how I see this situation. He may see the situation differently, but I am just venting, telling my side. She did admit that her sister would take her side because that's what we do as family, and we totally understand that. But that at the end, Sriracha said that they could work this out if they wanted to. And that's the thing. We are not certain that Noi wants to work this out. Noi did give us a little more insight on this particular situation. She said, although Steve is self-employed, She doesn't know what the details of that looks like. And Sarah, of course, like us, said, you need to get the details. Of course, I feel like that is just a conversation. Why come you just can't have a conversation, sit down, what do you do? I don't understand why it's such a big deal about the plan, or who develops the plan, or who tells the plan. Let's just get a plan. It seems like this would be resolved in a heartbeat, and I'm not sure why the experts are not chiming in and saying, hey, let's sit down, talk about finances. This was an issue for Marla and Gil, and they sat down and had a discussion. This is how much is in my bank account. This is how much is in your bank account. This is the kind of things I want to do. Like, why come that just can't happen with Noe and Steve? This seems like a very simple thing to resolve, and you not knowing what self-employment looks like. I don't understand that statement at all. I mean, you guys are living in the same household. It's a discussion. You may not understand the ins and outs of the self-employment, but you should have some type of idea. Some things are very intricate, and maybe you don't get it on the first time, but not knowing the details is unacceptable. Then we get our sixth and final clip, and it's Lindsey and Mark sitting at their bar, and Lindsey indicating that Mark has no boundaries and takes no accountability. OLAJAWON lets us know that Lindsey did go up to the roof, and he was there to talk to her. And he said the thing about Lindsey is that she is so easy to point the finger, and that she doesn't take any responsibility. So I really thought that that was spot on. They see Mark as really trying to resolve the situations in a right way, but Lindsey puts up a wall when he does that and thinks that he is against her. And they think that when she sees the clip, sees the episodes, that this may change a little bit. They indicate that Mark does not like conflict at all. He is a really sweet guy, and he is trying his hardest to make this marriage work. I was so glad to hear that, because that's what we see. And sometimes you don't know if what you see is the real deal going on behind the scenes, but it sounds like who we see Mark be on the screen is who he is off the screen, although Lindsey has made a comment that that's not the case, but I think she may be the person that is different. And also, Noe says that they can make it on decision day, but they will both have to do some self-reflection. And I think that that is just spot on. It was so cute. At the end of the episode, Keisha asked Noe what amount would need to be in Steve's bank account for her to just move on about the issue and be sorry that she even brought it up. And Noe, she was kind of like, I don't know. But I love that Keisha was like, no, just give me a number. I'm not going to hold you to it. Just, what's the number? And she finally said $40,000. And Keisha was like, hey, Steve, let us know what you have in your bank account. Which, I mean, some people make $40,000. That's an annual wage. So maybe she's saying, hey, if we have enough to tide us over for a year, then, that would be great. I would think that she would want him to continue to replenish that with his self-employment. So maybe that would just put her at ease while he continues to work the plan. However, those details were not stated. Did you catch that pearl that OLAJAWON dropped? He actually talked about his mom in this episode, and he made it very clear that she could not film, but she is one of his biggest supporters. I'm nosy. I wonder why she can't film. But it sounds like he said that she could come on the after show, and he indicates that he has given up on the cooking thing because of his mom. That his mom says, why are you expecting her to do something that you can't do yourself? And that he needs to leave the issue alone. And he says that what his mom says for him to do, then he is going to do. Which, in the beginning, the pre-episodes before they even got married, he indicated that he was really close to his mom, that he really loved his mom. So I was really surprised to see the stand-in mom, the godmom, come and give him the shirt and stuff, but maybe it has something to do with his mom not being able to film. It sounded like that she would be able to come on the after show. So I don't know, maybe they will get her to come on the after show if that is something that she can do, where we can see and meet OLAJAWON's mom. But regardless of the reason, because people have their own personal business, I am glad to see that his mom is supportive, that she's involved, and that he does have a great relationship with her, which brings us to the fuel you can use, which is a spiritual truth to carry you throughout the week. Our spiritual truth comes from Exodus 20:12. Honor your father and your mother, that your days may be long upon the land which the Lord your God is giving you. And it's inspired by OLAJAWON and his love for his mom. I, like OLAJAWON, had a very close relationship with my mom. I know that's not the fate of everyone, but I am going to encourage us all to honor your mother and your father. And the Bible says that our days will be longer. I so wish that my mom was still here on earth so that I can honor her. So sometimes if you need to just be quiet or not respond to your parents, or they're not the greatest or the loving, just accept them for who they are. Sometimes you do have to create boundaries, but honor and love your mother and father. Do your best to do that, even if you have to put some safeguards for yourself in place. That is the fuel you can use. There's still so much to come. We see that OLAJAWON is not happy with the advice that he gets from Dr. Pepper. LINDSEY says that she feels sad all the time. We see JASMINA still struggling with her feelings for Michael, and Steve still concerned about the social media post that Noe made. What did you think about the episode? Were you, like me, curious about the pearl that OLAJAWON dropped? What did you think about the outfit that Keisha Knight Pulliam had on? What did you think about Sarah? Do you think she represented the people? And what did you think about Noe not wanting to move in with Steve and the reason that she gave us? Please like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, live with intention. Be intentional.